Greetings comic book fans, I'm Jason and welcome once again to my comic book reviews. A massive haul of books this week, 24 books I've got to review, massive haul this week, and I've got another big haul this week coming as well. So yeah, this is going to be a bit of a long one, I'm afraid. So I'd recommend pausing this video, go get yourself a big beverage, some snacks, get yourself comfortable, click play, and let's get on with these reviews, because I think, yeah, like I say, I think it's going to be a long one. So without further ado, let's get into those reviews. So first up, we're going to kick things off with DC Comics, and we're going to start with our weeklies. Batman Eternal issue 37, and this book was a bit of a mixed bag. It was cool catching up with a lot of different characters we haven't seen for a while. That was nice. It feels like we're now in the next act, like I said last week, but like now after we've kind of finished off like the last act with all the Bard stuff and the Hush stuff, this issue really getting that third act into play and reintroducing a lot of characters. I liked, you know, catching up with them, but like with Catwoman, for example, I felt like we'd missed some story here. I don't know if it's been going on in her own book, because I don't read Catwoman, but it did feel like we missed some, because last time we saw her, she just decided to become this mafia boss, and now suddenly she's got this, she's done it, and she's dealing with a few rogue elements, but pretty much she's in control now, and it just seemed like we'd missed some story there. I liked the whole thing with Batman checking in with Julia to trying to check how much stuff they've got. Really illustrated the point that, you know, his resources are depleted right now, that he's having to keep count of stuff, where before he would have just said, oh, we got this, because he'd have had, you know, pretty much unlimited amounts of access to stuff, and now he hasn't got that, and I thought that drove that point home nice and subtle. It was cool catching up with Batwing and Jim Corrigan. During their time in the book before, their part of the story is the part I enjoy, probably the part of the story I enjoyed the least, but I'd really come quite attached to those characters, and it was good seeing them again. And it looks like their story isn't done yet, which is cool as well. I didn't like the art this issue. The art didn't work for me. I don't know if it was just the style or if the art was rushed, but yeah, I just didn't like it. The villains, I liked all the villains having to work together to try and stay out of Arkham, but the thing that bugged me during that scene was, I'm sure Mr. Freeze and Scarecrow were in Arkham Manor during that therapy session, and so like I kind of like that book spins out of this book, so it's like I was like, well, wait a minute, what's going on? And okay, maybe in a later issue of Arkham Manor they escape, but that's stupid, because that's a monthly, this is a weekly, so to time it all would have been, you know, really difficult. So I'm like, why would you do that to yourself at DC, you know? But yeah, so that really bugged me with that scene. All in all, like I say, this was, I enjoyed the issue, even though there were things that bugged me with it, I still enjoyed it. But I think out of the 3 Batman books I read this week, this was definitely the weakest, and I'd give Batman Eternal issue number 37 3 stars out of 5. Next up, we have our other weekly, in the New 52 Future's End issue number 33. I like that cover. It is a really creepy cover. All in all, this was another good issue. I like the Stormwatch stuff. That is my favourite part of the story, and seeing them go up against Father Time and Shade, I thought was really good, and I really liked that. And I really like what they've done with Atom, and how this whole story's kind of made him re-emerge as a hero. So that was really cool. I was a bit disappointed with our Batman from the future, kind of just repeating the same actions again, because he can't understand like what's happened to Brother Eye. And I thought, like, come on, you've worked with the best detective. Surely you would start thinking, well, come on, computer, hypothesize ways that Brother Eye could hide himself, rather than just do the same thing over and over. I was a bit disappointed with his character there. I thought, you know, come on, kind of start putting things together. Talking about putting things together, I like how some of these stories are bleeding together. How we have this one scene with 50 Sue, and that then ties into another, then she goes outside, and it kind of ties in with another story. I really like that. I remember a while back I was wondering how these stories were gonna, connect, and I'm really loving how they're beginning to bleed into one another. I think that's really good. I'm liking the Firestorm stuff. I didn't like the design of the villain Firestorm comes up against at the end of the book. I don't know, the look didn't look quite that good. But I'm really interested where that story's going to go, and if Firestorm's ever going to find a way to separate. But yeah, all in all, this is a book that I'm just really enjoying right now, and I give Futures End issue 33 4 stars out of 5. So next up we move on to our ongoing monthly books. And we have a Batman issue number 37, Endgame Part 3. This is just brilliant. Snyder just writes such a chilling and terrifying Joker. I in all my time of reading comics, I've never read a character that so terrifies me. This is a thing really of nightmares, and Snyder captures that just brilliantly in this, and brings kind of those horror kind of things that he's known for, and brings it into Batman in a really cool way. That really adds a lot to one of Batman's most iconic villains. Also, Greg Capullo is on top form. The art in here is just gorgeous. Add to that the colours from Danny Miki, and yeah, it is just a fantastic book. I'm really loving this right now. And if you fell off Batman because of that previous story, the previous story maybe wasn't your bag, really jump back on board now, because this is going to go down as one of the best Batman stories ever, because I'm really loving this right now. We get who the first kind of victim of this gas that Joker's released. I really loved that. Joker's playing with a whole different set of rules in this story, but it's what I like is there's that consistency, that the character it's the same Joker, but his modus operandi is a bit different this time, and I like how it feels the same but different, and how Snyder accomplishes that is just brilliant. The backups are brilliant as well, giving you these different origin stories that Joker has told different people from Arkham, and it kind of makes total sense how he had access to all these people now. But yeah, this book is just superb. I'm really loving it right now. Everything about it is just excellent, and I give Batman issue number 37 5 stars out of 5. So next up, our last Batman book of the week, and it is Batman and Robin. I got I got the variant cover, which I was very pleased. I really like Darwin Cook's art. Even though I couldn't remember his name then, I really like his art, so I didn't mind them giving me the variant. This issue was really good. I enjoyed this. We get to see at last what we've been building to, the throwdown between Batman and Darkseid, which is really cool, and there's some really great visuals this issue from Gleason. The colours as well are really cool in this, as we get to see Batman going up against Darkseid. It is just superb. Some really great visuals throughout the book. And I really loved that throwdown and that battle, and it was brilliant. How they all get home and everything gets realised. Of course, it's not giving anything away to say that Batman succeeds in bringing Damian back. If you've been on a computer the last couple of months, that's something that you wouldn't get away from, and I kind of wished that DC had maybe kept it more of a secret, because a scene like this would have had so much more impact if I didn't know for sure what was going to happen. The other thing is, I wish they'd have ended it with this double page spread, because that would have been perfect. Damian's back and you don't know. But they kind of go on a couple of pages, and the thing that they try to cliffhanger it all with, is a cliffhanger, you know, because it's around Batman, and you know nothing's going to happen to Batman, else we'd know about it. But so yeah, that I found hurt the issue. But I know I wish it had ended on that scene with Damian, because that would have kept you. You still don't know. Yeah, he's back, but what's happened to him? Is it the same? And so yeah, overall I enjoyed the issue. The end, I just wish they'd have ended on that bit, and I wish we hadn't known going in that Damian's going to be back. I think it would have added so much more to the impact of that scene if we didn't know for sure. But all in all, I've enjoyed this, and this remains a really good Batman book, and I give Batman and Robin issue number 37 4 stars out of 5. So now we move on to Justice League, another Darwin Cook cover, which I really loved. This was another excellent book. Jeff Johns has really hit his stride with this story. It's what you want the Justice League to be dealing with, this bigger threat, bigger than themselves, that they're having to work together to beat. I love the whole thing with what Patient Zero is and what he can do. I thought that was brilliant. I love the way he writes Superman and Batman, and that you can tell that there's this deep friendship between the two characters, which is really brilliant. The art by Jason Fabok is just gorgeous and adds so much to it. I like the balance that Johns gets with writing Lex Luthor, where you kind of see a bit of the heroic in him, but also a bit of the villainous. So I like the balance and the line that he's going. I like the mystery of who's trying to kill Lex Luthor amongst all this going on. But yeah, it's just a really, really great book. The art, like I say, is fantastic throughout. It's fantastic throughout, and it's just a really. This is just like at the moment on such a consistent run, and I think it seems to be under the radar. I don't hear many people talking about this book, and I know in the past it's been a very inconsistent book, but now they've hit their stride, and if you've fallen off, it's definitely worth having another look. Go back a couple of issues to the start of this story, because this book's really coming into its own right now, and I give Justice League issue 37 5 stars out of 5. So our final DC book of the week is Multiversity, and it is New Thunderworld Adventures. I jumped on last month to this, and I managed to get all the back issues of this, and I've been enjoying them. And I'm thinking of doing a video, maybe reviewing those first few issues. But this story, going into it, I didn't know much about Captain Marvel or Shazam, whatever you want to call him. I'm not quite clear, because in this they call him Captain Marvel, yet in Justice League they call him Shazam, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there. But I really loved this story. I went in, like I say, not knowing much about the character other than what I've seen in the New 52, but this is really good. I like the kind of innocence that because he's a child, I like the kind of innocence that Captain Marvel brings in this, and to being a hero. And he's still badass, and he still kicks ass, but there's this innocent quality to him as well that I really liked. I really like the whole balminess of the idea that Dr. Sivana creates an 8th day, and with this 8th day it's going to allow him to kind of take over the world and defeat Shazam and Captain Marvel once and for all. I like that. It took me back to the back in the day when villains would have crazy schemes and plans to kind of win the day. So I liked that. I like this thing as well that we've got running through all the Multiversity books of the comics being whispers from other universes, other worlds in the multiverse that have kind of leaked through, and somebody's put it into a comic of these adventures that are originally coming from other worlds. So I'm really enjoying that, and I like that how that's kind of running through all the books so far. So like, even though these are all separate stories, you've got that core thing running through them all. I really like that. The art here I thought worked really well for the book. You know, I thought really worked well for the story, and I thought was perfectly in tone with how you'd expect the book to go. I also really liked seeing the various Dr. Sivana's from the different multiverse. That was really cool as well. So yeah, going into this, I didn't know nothing about Captain Marvel. Coming out of this, I really enjoyed it, and I would be like, sign me up for the ongoing. I know there isn't going to be an ongoing, but it really made me hungry for more of this. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I'd give New Thunderworld Adventures 5 stars out of 5. Real good fun there. So those are my DC books. So next up, we're going to go to the Independents. So moving on to our independent reviews now. We have kicking things off with Valiant, and since last week with the release of the Valiant, I loved that book. It was my pick of the week last week. Really enjoyed it. I decided to go and pick up more Valiant, and every book I read, I just really love, and I'm really getting into Valiant, and I think definitely come the new year, I'm going to be dropping some of my Marvel books, and I'm going to be adding a whole chunk of Valiant to my pull list. So first up this week, I went back to get this. I didn't initially pick this one up, but I was kind of catching up with Valiant, and so yeah, I went and got this. It's Harbinger Faith issue 0. First things first, I knew nothing about this character coming into the book, and don't let that put you off, because this is a fantastic start. They have this brilliant opening page where they kind of give you everything about this character that you need to know going in. So like me, you can be a total newbie to this character, but you can still really enjoy the book. This book to me just blew me away. I went in not knowing nothing about the character, not knowing nothing about the book, and I came out of it, I was just like, wow, this feels so fresh and so different to anything else out there right now that it just blew me away. So the character Faith, she's a rather larger lady, if you will, and I'm not being disrespectful, I'm a larger dude myself, but she's a larger lady, and she's got superpowers, and she can fly, she can put people kind of like in a bubble and have them fly with her, and she's just a really good person who wants to use her abilities to help. That she's grown up a big fan of comic books, and she knows what, you know, from these comic books, what a hero should be and what a hero should do, and she wants to live up to the heroes she knew in the comic books. Now she has these abilities, but her boyfriend, who also has abilities, he kind of is worried about her getting hurt, and he kind of wants to protect her, so he's trying to take her away from being a superhero, to take her into like reality shows so she can make money off of her fame and not be put into danger. And so it creates this interesting situation where you have these two people that are in love, but they're on different paths. I loved the book. Like I say, she's a larger lady, but the way they write the character, it's just like they write any other superhero book. They don't, because so often in fiction and in the media, only times you see like fat people, like, and I include myself as fat, so I'm not using that as a derogatory kind of statement, but the only time you see like fat people or overweight people, they're either the happy-go-lucky sidekick, or they're the evil and greedy bad guy. So and they're portrayed as being gross. So they're either the comic relief or they're gross. That's the only. They're never really, or not that often anyway, portrayed as real people with real emotions. And just because they're large doesn't mean suddenly they don't have feelings. Suddenly means they don't go through the same things thin people go through. So I really love the book because the book writ her character just like they'd write any other female character, but she's not. And this is one of the things as well with comics, is how always the people that get the powers seem to be kind of like perfect figures. So I really like the fact that she's a larger lady and that she's a hero, and I really like the way that they didn't even make it an issue in the book. I loved that. She acknowledges it, but it doesn't become like what the whole book is about. And I just loved the portrayal of her character. I thought, you know, this is like, I've heard a lot of books kind of championed as being feminist, like Batgirl and Bitch Planet, and I've not read all of them, so I can't comment on all of them. But to me, feminism should be about equality. It's about the best person. You know, for example, if you're going for the job, the best person gets that job. That gender, colour, nothing else comes into it. You know, and for me, you know, this book, she's just a really strong character. And yeah, I just think this is, if you want a really strong female character that you can kind of look up to, this is definitely a book to be trying out. It blew me away. I loved the story. I found it so relatable. It kind of fills in everything you kind of need to know about the character. And I also love the usage of Twitter in the book. I thought that was a really great way to kind of get into the character's head. So I thought that was really cool. But yeah, a really fantastic book. I wasn't expecting to enjoy this as much as I did. Becoming a massive fan of Valiant, and I give Harbinger Faith, issue number 0, my pick of the week. So moving right along, we have a book that came out I think a couple of weeks ago. It is Ray, issue number 5. I had to really search for this. My usual comic shop didn't have it, so I had to go to another comic shop. Luckily they had 2 issues left, so I got it. This kicks off a new story arc, which so if this was something you was interested, this is the place to jump on. Issue 5. The story, it's basically set in the future in New Japan, and Ray is the protector of New Japan, but you've got all these different elements. You've got Father, that is basically runs New Japan, but Father can read Ray's mind, and Ray has found out that Father was responsible for his mother's death, so he wants to overthrow Father. So he's joining up with these radicals to kind of overthrow him, but he's got to be careful that he keeps those thoughts out of his head, as Father will find out. So yeah, you've got all these different elements of story, which I thought pretty much by the end of the issue I'd kind of figured everything out. I think it took away a bit of my enjoyment of the book, because I was trying to figure everything out and didn't really get to enjoy the story as much. I've managed to find on eBay the first 4 issues, so I'm looking forward to getting them. And maybe I'll be able to enjoy the story a bit more then. But certainly as the first 4th issue, you're kind of figuring everything out. The story itself I really like. I really like the character of Ray. Once again, Valiant do a great job. They have this inside page. I didn't think it was as good as what they did with Faith, because it still left a lot unknown to me. But I really liked the art here. From Clayton Crane. I remember him years ago doing some like Ghost Rider stuff that I really enjoyed, but I hadn't been somebody I'd heard about for a while. But I think his art really suits this book really well, and I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I give Ray issue number 5. I give it 4 stars out of 5. So our final Valiant book is the Deathdefying Dr Mirage, issue number 4. It's a 5-part miniseries. It's about this character called Dr Mirage, who can speak to the dead, except the only person she can't speak to is her dead husband. So she takes this job that she initially wasn't interested in, but this entity spoke into her head saying, you take this job, you'll be able to speak to your husband. So she's now on this mission, doing this job, and she's found her husband in this issue. She's found her husband and where her husband is, but she's also kind of getting to the bottom of what this guy who's hired her, what he's up to, because there's this whole shady stuff going on. I managed to get issue 1 and 2 of this as well, and I really enjoy them. I thought the whole series thus far has been really good. I enjoyed this one the most of the 3 issues I read. The first 2 I was kind of just like figuring everything out. This they do a brilliant page here telling you what's happened so far, which means you can actually jump into this. The art I think works for this story. Like I say, it art maybe in something else I wouldn't have liked, but I really liked it here, and the usage of color and everything as well was really cool. And I'm really liking the character of Dr. Mirage, and it's the interest in the direction that her character is going on. I really enjoyed this. I think this was the best of the ones I read. If you're interested in this, unless you can get the other issues, I would kind of wait for the trade. I think it's going to be one of those stories that's going to read really well collected together. So I'd maybe wait for the trade on this, but I really enjoyed this. This is one I enjoyed most of the three I read, of the 3 Dr Mirage issues I read. And I'd give the Deathdefying Dr Mirage issue number 4 5 stars out of 5. So now we move on to Dark Horse, and we have BPRD Hell on Earth issue 126. I said last week that I found this book really difficult to get into. This issue was a lot better. The main story is again the BPRD doing jobs for the Air Force, and they go to this town looking for this monster, and that's all got a real horror vibe to it, that story has. And I found that my favourite part of the issue, because that was something that was really easy to follow. We have what I think is New York then, which is under control of the Black Flame, so we have something disturbing going on there. And we have in Russia as well, them fighting monsters. I still didn't quite totally get what's happening in Russia and in New York, but I didn't find it as impenetrable as last issue. This issue I understood things a lot more. It's still not totally connecting with me, but I feel that I'm getting to grips with it a bit better. I really like the main story, and like I said, the horror vibes of it, all in all. So I feel things are getting better and getting clearer. Hopefully, if I stick with it, it will get even better. But I'd give BPRB Hell on Earth issue 126 4 stars out of 5. So moving right along from Only Press now, we have The Bunker issue number 8. I feel I need to go back and reread the other issues. It seems ages since I read an issue of this, and there were bits that I kind of had forget, because this issue we deal with Billy, and we haven't seen him for a while, and so there were bits with his character that I had kind of forgotten. So this issue we get to start to get the mystery of Billy, and he was the only character who didn't have a letter from the future. So I'm really interested with what happened to him. So we start to get to the bottom of this mystery, the mystery of Billy, and it's good. But like I say, because it seems so long since I've read this, and I read so many books, I kind of had forgotten bits and pieces. So I think I need to dig out the other issues and kind of reread them. I think that might help me. So I was a bit stuck at times, but I liked it. I like how they every so often they'll have an issue that will just look at a certain character. I really like how they do that, and it's always really interesting to see what's happening with that character, and that's really cool. Like I say, it was good, and it adds a bit more to the mystery, and I enjoyed it overall. I just felt a bit of disconnect because I wasn't totally clear on everything, so I give The Bunker issue number 8 4 stars out of 5. So finally now in our independence, we have 2 books from Image. First up we have Alex and Ada issue number 11. This book constantly amazes me in how few places it goes physically in the book, and how few characters we have, yet how engrossing the book is. It just shows you, if you have well-defined characters with a good story going on, you don't need to go everywhere, you know, you can keep that very local and it works. This issue we're kind of dealing, Alex and Ada have hooked up now, and we're kind of dealing with the aftermath of that and how they cope in life, which I really like. There's a couple of nice twists in here that I really liked, that I didn't really see coming. The art, as always, is amazing, and we care so much about the characters that every slight thing that happens in the book feels really, you feel for the characters and you care. So they're doing a really good job, and like I say, it's one of those books where like you could look at it and it's not loads of action, but things happen, the plot moves forward, and by the end of the issue you really, the last page, which I'm not going to show you because I don't want to spoil it, but the last page is just like, oh my god, what is going on here? But yeah, I'm really loving this book. I'm going to be sad when it's over because like I really like these characters, but it's been a great story, and this is another great issue. I'm going to give Alex and Ada issue 11 5 stars out of 5. So finally, our final book is Wytches, issue number 3. Once again, there's a really cool article in the back from Scott Snyder. I think this guy could write out the phone book and it would be entertaining. It's a really nice piece that he's written in and there again, which is awesome. And we also have this brilliant bit by Matt Hollingsworth, which I really loved, which shows how he puts the collar in, which was really interesting as well. As for the story, it was another really good issue. Really spooky and scary and terrifying, and yeah, it's probably one of the most terrifying books out right now. It's not the kind of book to read on a dark, stormy night. But we move forward. We've lost our main character. She's been taken by the Wytches because she was pledged, and so we're dealing a lot this issue with the father and his dealing with her loss and kind of not knowing, and this other mysterious character that attacked him last issue. So yeah, that's all really scary. There are times in the issue where it's a bit kind of you can't quite, it's kind of hallucinogenic, if you will. I don't know if that's the right word. But yeah, I can't get the word that I need for this, but it's it's a bit trippy, you know. You're like, oh, what's going on? And it's you don't quite know if what's going on is real or if it's in the father's head and stuff. So that's really good. It adds to the suspense. I didn't fully like what thing he does with the collars. It adds to the confusion of the book, but he's put this kind of thing over the top of it that just makes it a bit more trippy and a bit more, well, you know, harder to follow. This kind of glare on it that I didn't think was needed, but it does add to the book. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I don't think this was as strong as the first 2 issues. While I still really enjoyed it, and it still terrified the hell out of me. I don't know. I just didn't always quite follow what was going on, but I don't know if that's down to the thing that Matt Hollingsworth puts in color wise that makes it a bit more, you know, that kind of feel to it, or if it's just I wasn't quite following it. But yeah, I'm still really enjoying this, and it's worth the price of admission alone for that essay at the back, that article at the back from Snyder. Brilliant book, well worth checking out, and I give Wytches issue number 3 4 stars out of 5. So with 2/3 of the way through, just leaves the Marvel reviews. Well, now for the Marvel reviews, and first up we have Access issue number 8. I thought this was a lot better this week. I enjoyed it a lot more. We seem to have less going on, with different characters, and so the story seemed a lot more focused, and that really seemed to help the issue. I like the throwdown between Thor and Apocalypse. That was really good, and seeing Avengers and X-Men fighting where they're both kind of being evil, so they're both really trying to kill each other, made for some really great fight sequences. I liked what's going on with Scarlet Witch, though I still feel the big revelation of last issue's really been underplayed, and we should be dealing with that a lot more, but maybe that's going to be dealt with in other books. But I felt that that's something certainly that needed a bit more explanation at this point. So that was a bit, yeah, but I do like where that story's going as well. You can see how that might lead in to where they're going with Uncanny Avengers. So yeah, all in all, the art as well was a great improvement. I still don't feel it's event level art, but it was better than what we've been getting. So yeah, this was a much more fun, enjoyable issue, and much more on the right track, and I give issue number 8 of Access 4 stars out of 5. So next up we have Inhuman issue number 10, and this is also a tie-in to Access. And what Charles Soule's done really well is, because a lot of times when you have these tie-ins, it kind of pauses the regular story, and what he's done well here is he's got 2 stories going on. So you've got the story with Medusa that's tying into Access, and then you've also got the regular ongoing story from the book with Reader and ISO. So that works really well, because if you're bringing new people to the book, they're getting into the regular story that will make them come back. but also for your regular readers that may not be reading Axis or too interested in Axis, they've still got something there as well. So I like what Charles Soule's doing here. I thought that was a good choice writing wise to do. The throwdown between Spider-Man and Medusa was really cool, and that was fun. Though I really enjoyed the stuff again with Reader and ISO escaping from Capo. That was really cool as well. I'm really liking the direction of this book. I felt the stuff with Medusa really explains why she's with the Avengers in Axis and not with her own people. I thought that's done a good job here. The art by Ryan Stegman is fantastic. I really like his art, and I was super thrilled because when he was drawing Spider-Man, he was my favourite Spider-Man artist. So it was really cool to see him drawing Spider-Man here as he goes up against Medusa. So that was really cool. All in all, a really good issue, and I give Inhuman issue number 10 4 stars out of 5. So next up we have All New Captain America issue number 2. This just remains a really great book, a really great character piece from Rick Remender, as he really gets into the character of our new Captain America and what motivates him and why he's the man that he is. So that was really cool. In the modern day, this whole thing with Hydra and how they've infiltrated every single organization is awesome. I love it. You don't know who you can trust anymore, which is brilliant, and I'm really loving that, and that has real great potential for the future. There's some shocking twists in this that I didn't see coming, and a real big decision that Cap has to make that will haunt him for a bit. The art by Stuart Immonen is fantastic. This is just an absolute joy, and I give All New Captain America issue number 2 5 stars out of 5. Next up we have Captain Marvel issue number 10, and this is a $4.99 book because it's apparently 100 issues of Carol Danvers in her own various books. Coming into a book of $4.99, you think, yeah, we're going to get something special. Love the retro cover. Anytime you have a retro-y kind of cover, I'm there. I love it. But so that was really cool. But then the story inside, it felt more like an annual than a celebratory issue. Captain Marvel's hardly in it, and it's a story. I like the structure of the story of these letters that have been sent to her, and it kind of shows the effect she's had on different people. But yeah, I thought it was an okay kind of story in an annual kind of way, but it wasn't kind of what I was expecting as a celebratory issue of 100 issues of Captain Marvel. So yeah, it didn't do it for me. I wouldn't say it wasn't bad, but it didn't blow me away either. The structure of the story allows them to have a load of different artists on the book, but it was alright, but you know, not what I was expecting, and yeah, just not what I hoped. And I give Captain Marvel issue number 10 3 stars out of 5. We then have Guardians of the Galaxy issue number 22, as we continue our Symbiont Planet story. Still no sign of the Symbiont Planet, which is disappointing. I like the whole thing with the Symbiont jumping to different members of the Guardians. That was entertaining. But by the end of the issue, it didn't feel like the story had moved any further forward. We felt like we were still in the same place we started at, which seems to be a thing with both the Bendis books I got this week. That seems to be a reoccurring problem with Brian Michael Bendis' writing. That, you know, sometimes his stories can move forward slowly. The thing with his writing now is he writes his characters so well that often you can still enjoy the issue even though the story doesn't actually go anywhere. It was good seeing Captain Marvel back in the book because we haven't seen much of her as a member of the Guardians. All in all, it was a fun issue, not really moving anywhere or advancing the story in any way kind of issue. And if you missed it, if it was sold out for some reason, you wouldn't have missed much. You could pick up the next issue and you wouldn't miss a beat. I give Guardians of the Galaxy issue number 22 3 stars out of 5. Next up we have Deathlok issue number 3. I'm really liking Mike Perkins' art. I'm falling in love with it more and more each issue. This issue, kind of Deathlok's story of like him kind of wanting to be there for his daughter, that goes on the back burner a bit, and we deal a lot more with the search for Deathlok as all these different agencies are trying to find him, and who will get to him first. Will it be S.H.I.E.L.D. or will it be Hydra? So that's really interesting. We get to see him take out who appear to be some terrorists, and we get to find out about the shadiness that is biotech. Like I say, the art in here I really love from Mike Perkins. I think he does a really great job. With the way that he does the art. All in all, like I say, I'm just loving this book, and I give Deathlok issue number 3 5 stars out of 5. Next up we have Black Widow issue number 13. Was a bit disappointed with this. Mike Edmondson, is it? Yeah, there's two. No, there's Nathan Edmondson, isn't it? Yeah, Nathan Edmondson writes this, and Deathlok. I was a bit disappointed with this. Last issue was awesome, but we thought this character got killed, or at least I did, and they haven't, and that kind of took a bit of the impact of last issue away. And they've gone after this character before, so I couldn't get why Black Widow's so pissed if they've done it before. Surely it's not that much of a surprise to do it again. I like kind of the focus we get this issue with Black Widow, and how she's now really gunning for chaos, and she's got a way to hurt them, and she's going to go for it. I like the whole idea of her being outed, that she's not just an Avenger, she's an assassin, and she's done all these things. I like that. I think that's a really interesting direction for the character, and reminds me a lot of Captain America Winter Soldier with the direction of her character in that. I do feel, like I say, some of the impact of last issue is lessened. Still really loving the art though. I thought that was really good. I would like to have seen the media's reaction to her being outed a bit more. We saw the story break. I would like to see some of the what people are thinking, not just in the superhero community, because they know her as a person, but outside of the community, the regular people, what did they think? You know, that would have been interesting angle to kind of play. But all in all, I'm still enjoying this, even though I was a bit disappointed. And like I say, art-wise, it's still a real gorgeous book. I give issue 13 of Black Widow 4 stars out of 5. Next up, we have All New X-Men issue 34. And this is the other Brian Michael Bendis book, and this suffers from the same problem that Guardians did. It was an enjoyable read because he writes the characters so well, so it was enjoyable, but the story doesn't feel like it's moved forward at all. We seem to be in the same spot we were a while back. It seems to me almost like this is a book that they had an idea that would have made a great miniseries and tried to make it into an ongoing. And now it's kind of run out of steam. The story they had to tell has run out. So yeah, that was disappointing. The art in this I liked. This artist I'd not heard before. I thought he sorry, I had something pop up on my computer. I thought the artist this issue, Mahmoud Azra, I thought he did a really great job on the art. There's this one page in particular where Jean Grey, Ultimate Jean Grey, reads 616 Jean Grey's mind, and they read each other's minds and kind of see their lives. I thought that was awesome. But all in all, his art in this one was really great. The star of the issue for me was Iceman. I just really love how Bendis writes Iceman. He's such an hilarious character. I think it was Alfred Hitchcock who said that the easiest way to get people to care about a character is to get them to laugh with that character. And you're constantly laughing along with Iceman, so he's somebody that you've come to really care about. Jean Grey seems to still be the main focus. And like I say, the story doesn't seem to advance any, even though it looks good and it's fun. It doesn't seem to advance any, and it seems to be like the book as a whole has just kind of stuck. And I give issue number 34 of All New X-Men 3 stars out of 5. So we're getting to the end, and we have Fantastic Four next, issue number 14. Really loved this. This was brilliant. Robertson, really great idea, James Robertson, this issue, as we find out the villain behind the whole downfall of the Fantastic Four is this character called the Quiet Man, which I just love that name. And we get this issue, we get his whole origin story and who he is, and it's this character who can like change his face, which is so cool. And like, he's been after the Fantastic Four for a long time, manipulating things, changing his face, changing his identity, and being all these different people, manipulating people into kind of going up against the Fantastic Four. So he's been at this for a long time, and I really like that idea. The book has just really become really good, and I'm really loving it. I'm still loving Leonard Kirk's art. I didn't feel it was as strong as previous issues this time. I'd have to have a look. I don't know if the inker has changed. It could just be a simple thing like the inker that we had a few issues that works better with him than this inker. I don't know, but yeah, this book has just been really good, really sad. Just as Robertson and Kirk are hitting their stride, that like the book's going to be cancelled. But I'm looking forward to seeing where we're going to end this, because a really interesting idea with this character. Really good book, and I give Fantastic Four issue number 14 5 stars out of 5. So our penultimate book is Scarlet Spider's issue number 2. This was another really great book. I love the team up of these 3 characters. I think they work really well together because they're so different. So that's really cool. They're on this world, this inheritor called Genix, and he's the one who makes the clones so the inheritors never die. They just get into another clone body. So they're trying to find a way to kind of hurt the clones so that they can't use them no more. But Genix is like one step ahead of them. Art wise, I like the book. I feel the artist, whose name is Paco Diaz, I liked his art overall. I did think he had problems drawing Iron Man. If you look at Iron Man there, he did have problems drawing this world's Iron Man. But the rest of the book looks gorgeous. Once we get past the Iron Man bit, and he gets into drawing people, yeah, I thought he does a good job. Overall, I really enjoyed this. If you're enjoying Spider-Verse, this is well worth picking up because it's a really good tie-in. And I give Scarlet Spider issue number 2 5 stars out of 5. So final book this week is Spider-Woman issue number 2, and it is also a Spider-Verse tie-in. You know, it's easy to criticize Greg Land, but you've got to kind of think, what will Marvel thinking? You've got a character like Spider-Woman, who's a very sexualized character the way she looks, and you take an artist who has trouble making characters too sexy or sexualizing them, and you give him a character that's already been sexualized and is difficult not to draw in a sexy kind of way. You gotta think, what were Marvel thinking, you know? Surely that's a character you should have kept him a million miles away from. But anywho, this issue, I feel, I like the story, I like the idea that I keep trying to call her Scarlet Woman. Scarlet Spider, see, and I'm calling her Scarlet Spider. Damn, I'll try again. Spider Woman, I feel this issue, I like the idea that Spider Woman's on this mission where she's got to find out more about the Inheritors' homeworld, and maybe they can find something that can help them to fight them. I like that idea. I think that was an excellent idea. Where I think the book falls down is art-wise, with some of the characters looking too alike. I think, in that page there, if they were all in the same outfit, I don't think you could pick out Silk from Spider-Woman yet. Isn't Silk supposed to be younger? But yeah, and like some of his art is good. How he draws things is good. It's just his facial expressions, making characters look different, making characters show emotions. His art is a million years better than anything I can do. And I enjoyed the story, but yeah, his art does hurt the book, and you gotta feel a bit sorry for the rest of the creative team for that. And it's probably the wrong book to put him on anyway, so you gotta think, what were Marvel thinking? But all in all, I enjoyed the book, even though the art did cause problems. I enjoyed the story, and I liked the idea, and we learn a little bit more about the Inheritors as well, so that was really cool. And I'd give Spider-Woman issue number 2 4 stars out of 5. So that's me done for another week. My review's finished. I will be back next week. There will be no haul video this week, unfortunately. My hours at work have changed. Instead of doing an early on Christmas Eve, I'm doing a late. So there's no way I'm going to be able to get a video done and uploaded on Christmas Eve. I don't want to be uploading a video on Christmas Day because it's Christmas Day, and hopefully I'm going to be busy opening all my prezzies. So yeah, so there'll be no haul video this week, but I will be back around this time next week with another review video, because it's another big week. I've got over 20 books again. So, but fortunately the week after that, then I've only got like 3 books coming out. So you know, it gets a bit better. Anywho, so yeah, I will be back, like I said, next week. I'd like to take the chance once again to wish you all a very Merry Christmas, and I hope you all have a great day. Thank you for watching my video, and if you enjoyed it, please give me those beautiful thumbs up. Let me know you like what I'm doing. So all that leaves me to say, as I'm going to go off now and probably have a bit of a nap, because I'm a bit tired after reading all those comics. So I'm going to go for my nap. So it leaves me to say, I've been Jason. This has been my comic book reviews. Bye for now.